This is PA Law, Title 75, Section 3345.1, Enforcement of Failure to Stop for School Bus with Flashing Red Lights. Again, just to recap, I'm going to say this with every law. I'm not a lawyer, full disclosure. And this is just me reading through this, or just kind of giving a summary of what I believe that, or an opinion of what I believe this law is. Okay, General Rule A allows for a school entity to install and operate a side stop signal arm enforcement system for the purposes of enforcing the provisions of Section 3345. That's passing a school bus that is stopped with its stop arm or side arm out and red signal lights flashing, or as reported under Section 3345A.1. This one is what gives the sidearm cameras, or the side stop signal arm enforcement system, teeth, or stop arm cameras in some states. Scrolling down, liability. The fine is $300. $250 goes to the school district. Usually there's going to be cost shares with the vendors on that. $25 will go to the police department that reviewed the evidence package. $25 will go to the school bus safety grant program account. Continuing down, it appears that they go after the owner of the vehicle. So that's who's liable for the fine imposed unless the owner is convicted of the same violation under Section 3345. So 334 has a defense under subsection F that gets into you basically saying, or being able to prove, that you were not at the location driving when your car was ticketed. Section 3345 means if a police officer pulls you over, I believe, they can't give you tickets for this and for the officer. So it's the officer ticket, not the sidearm camera ticket. A violation of this section shall not be considered a criminal conviction, civil penalty again, be made part of the operating record. I guess this would be considered points off your license, maybe. Somebody from PA, put it in the comments if you know more about this. And subject to merit rating for insurance purposes, or authorize imposition of surcharge points and provisions of motor vehicle insurance coverage. So they're trying to protect you from this being reported to your insurance to drive up your rates, I guess. Certificate as evidence, prima facie evidence. This is what allows an officer to not have to witness it firsthand, but is able to lean on the video surveillance of the violation as witnessing the crime or civil penalty violation. Limitations of this program. To start, the side stop arm single enforcement system may only be used to record violations of the Section 3345, passing the stop school bus with its extended arm out and red lights flashing, and may not be used for any other surveillance purposes. Going down, it states that it should not be used for identifying the driver, the passengers, or the contents of the vehicles. But if it does, and everybody made an effort to comply with the paragraph, that's not a reason to dismiss the charge solely off the fact that it might have exposed the identity of the driver, the passenger, or something in the vehicle. There's another part of that, but it's further down, and I'll point that out as well. Number 2, this basically gets into the police department, or the jurisdiction that is in charge of the system, I guess, to okay or put together information or sign off on these tickets. It says that the authority to exercise police power in this area where the violation occurred, its authorized agents or employees, including the recorded images, and this is the big one, the recorded images, the written records, the reports or facsimiles, the names, addresses, and the number of violations under this section shall be for the exclusive use of the police department. For use for the Department of the Police Office, the police officer having the authority to exercise police power in the area where the violation occurred. It's authorized agents, employees, and law enforcement officials. Then you go down to II, this information shall not be deemed a public record under the Act of, it's the Right to Know law in Pennsylvania. I do not understand, I understand protecting people's identity or where they were at the time. I understand that doesn't fall under Freedom of Information Act. What I don't understand is how the number of citations should not be public record. It's a public safety program. The whole part of this is to make the public safe. But why would they have that part there? Why would you have to go through a judge to release that information? Or the information may be discoverable by court. Or let's say you want to see additional video around your citation. Does that mean you then have to go to the court to appeal for it through discovery? When a simple FOIA request, since you're the person that is allegedly committed the violation, should that be tied to you? Meaning they could release it to you, but not just anyone. Scrolling down a little further, and this one is a big one here. Again, it has to deal with the violation of Section 3345 enforced under this section, or, and this is a big one, any other violation in connection with a criminal law enforcement action. So does that mean if they witness, if they're looking for these stop arm violations and they witness anything else, does that mean that can then be charged upon whatever person? And how would they identify that person? I guess that's the other thing. It's not to be used to identify the driver, the passenger, or the contents of the vehicle, but is it okay to identify random people on the road with this? The images obtained from the side stop signal arm enforcement system shall be destroyed within 1 year. So they're looking to collect the citation and destroy anything else. So if something comes up later, that'll be deleted. Basically, the company has to write a written notice to the school that the records have been destroyed. Section F, defenses. This gets into the person being named on the citation. One of the defenses that the person being named on the citation was not driving, but they are required to submit evidence that it was not them driving, but they are not required to identify the actual driver. If your car was stolen, but you need a police report dated prior to the citation report, and that your vehicle had not yet been recovered. And then the other one was if you're not the owner of the vehicle during the time of the citation. G gets into the approval process. H is the duty of the manufacturer or the vendor. They're basically they're looking for the violations themselves. They're going to extract the license plate and the state of the motor vehicle, and then the date, time, and place the violation happened. Duty of the school district. I'm going to go ahead and go down to the end where we get into the state school bus safety program, or school bus safety grant program. So what we kind of above was basically every state I find is kind of the same thing set up. Your school district will get a vendor or contractor to put the cameras on the buses. The schools usually hold the contracts. Pennsylvania has a sunshine law, so all your contracts are usually in board docs. I might put a few up later. Then there'll be an intergovernment agreement. Your county has to get on it, or your board of government that does civil penalties has to basically pass an ordinance. And your local police, or if there are no local police, your state highway patrol has the option to enter into it. And the vendor for the school will push the evidence packet to the police officer. The police officers will then sign off on yes or no, it's a citation. It's mailed out to you, and you can either pay it, and from what I understand, it goes bye-bye. You pay the $300, everything's wiped off, or cleared out or deleted out of the system, or you can try to contest it in court. But Pennsylvania is a little different. One state did not give those protections for where it won't hit points off your license or report to your insurance. So that's a benefit. The School Bus Safety Grant Program. So 3345 as well as 3345.1 pushes $25 for every citation into the school bus grant program. I don't know a lot about it. Something to research in the future. It's to promote increased school bus safety, education, and training throughout this Commonwealth. The department shall award a school bus safety grant on a competitive basis. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What are the qualifications that need to be made for that competitive basis to get the grant? And then the department will have administrative costs that they can use, and they basically use those violation fees to pay their administrative costs, or the fines from the violations to pay their admin costs. Again, that might be something to look more into or go into depth on. Contracted companies, I believe this is referring to school bus contracted companies where they won't be held liable for certain things. And then finally we get into definitions.